for the fofo. This for the fofo. For the city and the back roads. Got a whole county full of them goats. All from the fofo and that goat. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah. So let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva. Them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 440 Sports Show and the first morning show right here in Ashtabula County, brought to you by YSN. My name is Sam Torres. Thanks everybody for joining so early in the morning, although it's probably not early for most of you folks out there. This will be a daily show, so we're going to do our best to try and get a lot of different things covered and provide a ton of shine to as many of the local athletes as we possibly can. My name is Sam Torres. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the sectional winners. Particularly, we're going to focus on PV as they get ready to take Beechwood on tonight. And we're going to talk about some of the sectional wrestlers as well. One of the biggest things I wanted to get on here was the wrestlers, as a matter of fact, because there's a lot of Ashtabula County wrestlers that are still wrestling right now when we get down to the district level, including, actually, we're going to go through some of those lists right now. Big shout out to, some of the parents who have reached out and provided these lists. We're going to start off with some of the district qualifiers from Edgewood. Devin Sanchez, D'Angelo Sanchez, Kyle Venzel, Josh Biller, and Zeke Lucas, all from Edgewood, heading to districts and continuing to wrestle this week. PV actually has a champion in Jace Dietrich, who's ranked number 15 in all of Ohio. Conneaut sending Amari Bowers and Darren Christine, and Jefferson sending Brogan Fielding to the districts here for the OHSAA tournament. There's a lot, we don't get to cover wrestling anywhere near as much as I would honestly like to. It's a heck of a sport that requires a lot of work. I liken it to swimming in that these are kids that are going to be spending huge amounts of time in the gym, doing the work, trying to make sure that they it's an individual sport, with a team component, I guess is the best way to describe it. These kids are, doing all the work, making sure they're in condition. There's a lot of strength. There's a lot of strategy. There's a ton of stuff that goes into the wrestling that I think gets overlooked a little bit. But these kids are still representing Ashtabula County at the district level, which is awesome. So congratulations to all those kids who their work is paying off. It is really paying off. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure everything is the way it should be. Once again, like I said, this will be a daily show, so we're going to be stopping in. Sometimes it might be a half hour, sometimes it might be an hour. It's really going to depend on a lot of the stuff that's going on. Want to send a huge shout out to Trey Ren Scruggs. If you want to check out his music, it's on Apple iTunes. I actually linked it on the 440 Sports page Instagram. He put together the song for us and got it all together, and it's fantastic. I think it's a really good look for Ashtabula, getting a good mention of all the different schools and all that sort of stuff. One of the things we're going to be doing on this show as well is, as I get those post-game interviews, we're going to rerun them right here. That way, in case you didn't get a chance to see them, you'll get a chance to see them right here. And the first one I want to run is I did an interview with Brady Anderjack after their sectional championship win over the visiting West Geauga Wolverines. This Edgewood team is somebody who we're going to go into a lot more depth either tomorrow or Wednesday, probably Wednesday, because that's when they're going to play Ursuline. And Ursuline has a whole slew of great basketball players down there. This Ursuline is very comfortable in the districts. It's just kind of where they live. But we're going to start off the show here with an interview with Brady Anderjack from Edgewood, Ohio.
All right, I'm here tonight with our player of the game, Brady Anderjack, who comes in and gives some big-time defensive stops as well as a couple big-time threes. Brady, what was going on tonight?
We just came out, played hard. It was going to be a tough game. We knew they were a good team, but we knew we could be better if we played our best.
So, you missed a pretty good amount of the season this year with the stress fracture from a prior sport. Coming back in about 3/4 of the way through the season, you're immediately making a difference out there. Is this just something you worked and made sure you were continuing to keep your eyes on basketball throughout the recovery?
Yeah, it's just when you come back, you're going to be a little bit rusty, and I still haven't got my shot back, but you can do the little things like play defense and rebound. So that's just what I've been doing, working myself back in.
Yeah, and you're playing with guys that you played with for more than a couple of years this year, but, whether you're making a difference on the scoreboard or getting the rebounds, you're doing the job. And because of that, Edgewood can be playing again as they take on the big bad Ursuline next week, and this guy's going to be a big part of it. Brady, congratulations and thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was Brady Anderjack, and one of the cool things about choosing him for the player of the game there is he didn't really score a ton of points in that game. Only 6 points, I think, is what he ends up with there. But, he plays one of the most underrated parts of the game, and that was defense. West Geauga had a couple guys, including Prexta, who could really shoot the ball very, very well and made a huge difference for West Geauga. West Geauga, even though they lost that game, they were very much in that game, from the opening tip all the way through. It was a team that when Edgewood was playing them, really, Edgewood seemingly couldn't shake them. Ernst was playing a big game. Venzel had a big game. Cray had a big game. All these guys played an awesome first half and second half of basketball for that matter. But every time they would start to pull away, West Geauga would come down, Prexta would knock a three down, or they had a big man that was able to get some rebounds, to get some offensive rebounds who we've seen throughout the year. Offensive rebounds really decide the show for these teams. I think a lot of these teams, kind of have lost games with the offensive rebounds. We've seen, we talk a lot about the free throws and Edgewood. Talking to Coach Bowler right after the end of that game, one of the things that he was very concerned with was the fact that they didn't shoot well from the free throw line, just under 50%. And those are the free points, and you're leaving them on the board. And when you're playing in the OHSAA tournament, by the time you've hit the second and third round, every team you play is going to be a good team. So, a lot of those things you can't really, you can't leave those free throws. You can't leave the free points out there. Time and time again, we've seen at the end of the game, missing those free throws there in the first half, you lose by 1 or 2 points, and you have to think to yourself, like, man, what really got us there? One of the other things I want to talk about here coming up on March 25th is the YSN All-Star Game. Now, I'm really excited about this because this is going to be the first year that Ashtabula County athletes are going to be involved with this event. It's going to be at the Begley Center at Youngstown State. We're going to have representation from both the player standpoint as well as the coaching standpoint. A lot of those details are still going to be coming out. A lot of those details will still be coming out, later on. We got to get some commitments from, different players and different coaches and that sort of thing. But YSN as a network has just a huge huge amount of schools that they're servicing, and Ashtabula County now being with all of the county schools, 7 of the county schools being part of the YSN family. All of those guys are going to have a chance to go to the Begley Center and play an all-star game on the big stage. And one of the cool things about this game is this is not senior dependent. This is going to be the best of the best. So whoever the best player on each team is going to get chosen to play in this game. They're going to go down there. Now, there's going to be a lot of players. So if you're going to go down there and you're going to check it out down at Youngstown State, make sure you get there and get there early, because you don't want to miss a minute. You never know when your represented student is actually going to get into the ball game and get to play against Northeast Ohio. And I can comfortably say that Northeast Ohio's best basketball players are going to be on the court right there in Youngstown, just because there's such a huge amount of kids that are going to be playing. So, I'm really excited about that. Tonight we're going to go into today we're going to talk a little bit about the PV Lakers, who are the other team in the Ashtabula County area that are still alive. PV is going to be heading to Niles tonight to play Beechwood. District semifinal championship game. PV has really had a stellar year from the top to the bottom. We got a chance to cover them twice. I've actually gotten a chance to see them play 3 separate times. Unfortunately, we had some equipment errors, though, the first time I went out there, so I just got a chance to watch the basketball game. And you talk about this Lakers team. So PV has seemingly become a basketball school, really, if you think about it. This is a team that has been consistently good for probably the last 4 to 5 years, going all the way back, a couple years ago to, the Wilkerson and Tanner Rhodes and, Mason Inman and those big time PV Laker teams. And, they're picking up right where they left off. And a large part of that is because of a guy named Tyler Britton. Tyler Britton has come to be one of the best one of the best forwards in the area. I was going to call him a post player, but he's not necessarily a post player. This is a kid that can really stretch it out, and he shoots the ball incredibly well, which is something that anytime you've got anybody with that sort of size, it is a huge help. This is a kid, he can rebound the ball, he can shoot the ball. But, it's not just Britain either. They've got guys, Knarzik. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to butcher your name. Knarzik is another big body down there. He's able to get rebounds, stretch it out with 3-pointers, do all that sort of stuff. John Michelle, who is a big-time shooter. And all because of all this, PV ends the year, the regular season right now, 20-3. 13-1 in their conference, with their lone loss in the conference coming to Fairport Harding, which they had a chance to, get back at the end of the year with, some gusto, 77-33 as they get to play them. One of their late losses comes to Geneva Eagles team that I've said from the beginning, it doesn't matter who Geneva has played prior to like February. The Eagles always seem to pick it up at the right time of the year. They always get good right at tournament time. And I think that point was further proven when they went out and won their first round of the OHSAA tournament. Now, they did lose to Alliance following that. But, for a team that struggled as much as Geneva did, it's really impressive to see them be able to kind of collect their thoughts, get everything together, and get a win in the tournament. But yeah, that's one of PV's losses. Another one of PV's losses comes to the Jefferson Falcons. And there's definitely nothing to hang your head about there. Jefferson Falcons are one of three NE8 champions this year, splitting that conference title with South Range, who unfortunately they do lose on their home court to split that title, as well as Girard. That NE8 conference it's not just tough in football. It's a very competitive conference from top to bottom. But Jefferson, just a phenomenal team this year. Joey DeGeorge averaging somewhere in the realm of like 22 points a game. They've got a couple transfer students that have come into their game or come onto their team this year, and Anthony Cavetta and Luis Padilla, who made an immediate difference. They've got Grant Hitchcock, who we have spoke about, tons and tons, not just on this show, but on the network overall, playing point guard for them. He really made a difference. They do fall short in the first round, and I think that's something that's going to stick with some of these guys. Now they will be, losing their point guard in Grant Hitchcock, as he is going to graduate this year. But the Jefferson Falcons overall as a basketball team, they're bringing everybody back next year. So I think that's definitely somebody, you really got to keep your eyes on. They're going to be a top level competitor in the CVC. I assume the basketball is going to fall right in line with the football conference. Football conference being made up of Lakeside, Geneva, Edgewood, Madison, Jefferson, and Conneaut in that CVC Lake, which is a bit of a dream come true, really, if you think about it for us here in Ashtabula County, because it's reminiscent of the old NEC days. And during the NEC time, it wasn't just football that mattered. Everything mattered up here. A conference title really held some juice, because you were playing a bunch of teams that you weren't driving 45, 55 minutes to play anybody. So it's really good to see that that's kind of coming back into where it should be. I am going to go to a break and give some of YSN and the network sponsors a chance to talk about their brands. We'll be back here in just about 2 minutes. See you guys soon.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
All right, welcome back to the 440 Sports Show, the first morning show here in Ashtabula County, right here on YSN, as well as all of the 440 Sports Show socials. My name is Sam Torres. I want to send a huge shout out to Renz Scruggs, who took his time and produced an absolute banger of a theme song. That's going to be released on all the socials later on today. I think I'm going to throw it on TikTok. Maybe we could get some of these students involved with doing some TikToks with that song, getting all those Ashtabula County schools mentioned in the school name. It's really, really super cool for what he did there. I do want to go back, circle back around real quick and talk about this PV Lakers versus the Beechwood Bisons. Now, the Beechwood Bisons, so PV, their last game They're going to get a win over LeBray, 56-45, able to bounce back against that loss by 1 point to Geneva. But Beechwood is no kickover. Beechwood 15-8, 15-8 on their season. Some of their big wins this year include Lakeside, Geneva, Harvey. They took some big losses to Edgewood, 90-72. They lost to the Goliath that is known as Richmond Heights this year, but that really doesn't tell you much. Beechwood also beats West Geauga this year. So this is a quality team, including, their point guard, Noah Laurie, who's averaging about 26 points a game. That is a hefty load for that young man. So that leads right to, not only 26 points a game, but he's also averaging 2 steals a game. So Noah Laurie is a name that, or Lurie is a name I think we're going to be hearing a lot. For those of you who want to watch that game, it's going to be available right here on YSN. So I've explained it before. I'm going to run it again on the socials on how to exactly buy that virtual pass. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how that virtual pass works, as well as why we have to do it. So once, throughout the year, we take pride in providing coverage for all the YSN schools, all the local teams, for free. You get it every night. Regular season games are going to be 100% free. When we get into the tournament time, though, the OHSAA, there's a relatively large fee that is imposed on anybody who's doing any broadcasting of these events. So for us to take that fee and continue to provide you guys all the coverage that we're doing, we have to install a fee as well. Now it is $10. It is $10, but it's a virtual pass. And one of the cool things I like about our virtual pass versus any other ones, whether it's, I won't drop any names here, but our virtual pass, when you spend $10, you're getting everything on the network for that night. So like, for instance, tonight, excuse me, I've been fighting that the entire show. For instance, tonight you're going to get about, excuse me, about 8 games. You're going to get about 8 games all on that one virtual pass. And Tina, thank you so much. I love you guys too. And we will be covering football. I hope that's it. We will be covering football without a doubt. That's honest to God, that's what this show is built on, was football. We like to show love to everybody, but tonight, one of the cool things about that you're going to see, I'm trying to look through all the games that are coming up, but it doesn't look like they're listed yet. It's early. We're starting here at 8:00, so those games aren't listed, but I will release a full list of those games today on our socials, as well as YSN will be pumping that out. But like I said, the biggest thing is when you buy that $10 virtual pass, it's going to cover all those games. Every other place you look, wherever you're paying for high school sports, you're going to be paying $10 for one game, $10 for another game, and if you've got, a couple nephews, nieces, or something like that, or a huge family, you could be spending upwards of $50, $60 to watch playoff basketball. Not here at YSN. You're going to spend $10. You're going to get all the games for that day with, some of the best broadcasters, not me included. I mean, I do my very best, but there are some real diamonds right here on the network that are going to be calling basketball games, including tonight's game, which is going to be called by Ian O'Brien down there at Niles. He'll be calling that PV versus Beechwood game. It's going to be available right here. One of the biggest things, and one of the biggest things that I'm really proud of is the fact that Ashtabula area teams are getting this sort of coverage. That's been one of my dreams since the very beginning. and through our partnership and working our camaraderie with YSN, I think we're getting to cover sports in this area that we haven't in a way that we haven't seen since the late great Joe Pete was out there. And while I'll never be able to match him, I'm very much he's somebody I've always looked up to, and one of the reasons I got into this game. So a couple other events that are coming up shortly, actually. I told you guys about this YSN All-Star Game, which, I'm going to run that on the screen one more time. Mark your calendars, folks. March 25th at the Begley Center. Lots of great basketball coming up. As well as on the 17th, I got to check my calendar. We've got Ashtabula's Senior Classic, and that's going to be on YSN as well. I'll be there providing the coverage to that, as it's going to be right there at Edgewood. The Ashtabula County Basketball Foundation will be doing an all-star game for just seniors. Now, this is something that's not really new. You guys know what's going on with that. There's going to be a boys game and a girls game. We will be there. Let me pull up my calendar so I can give you some more specifics on that. So that's going to be on March 7th. On March 7th over at Edgewood High School, the Ashtabula County Senior Classic, starting at 5:30 with the girls game, and then followed by the boys game. I'm going to talk to some of the guys over at the Touchdown Foundation, the Basketball Foundation. I'm going to talk to some of those guys and get an idea of what we are, what sort of events are going to happen. Last year, I know they had like a 3-point contest and that sort of stuff. It's really a great way to kind of extend the season, to give the flowers to these young people right now, and really kind of tie a bow on it, as baseball season has creeped right upon us, which is insane for me to think about. It feels like we just started covering basketball not very long ago. And, one of the things at the last game I was at, as soon as the game was over, they cleared the court and there were some baseball mounds getting thrown down. So we will be covering baseball too at a much more consistent level than last year as well. Tons of baseball coverage going to be happening this year, which I'm really looking forward to as well. There's going to be softball coverage coming up. We're still trying to kind of pin down that track coverage. For those of you track stars, you know how those events go. It's an all-day event, and it's very difficult to get kind of the overhead view that you need to provide that coverage at the level that you guys deserve. So, but one thing that will remain is, even if we're not covering these events live, we will be celebrating all of your your wins, your losses, all those sort of things. Any achievement you get, we're going to push it out here. That's really the point of this show. It's to give some kids a little bit more exposure, to let everybody know that your efforts are being not just watched but appreciated as well. Really looking forward to some great things in the future. But like I said, this is now a daily show, so we're going to have a chance to kind of incorporate some more content, as what we were doing before with a once weekly show. We had to cram a bunch of stuff right there into about an hour, whereas now we're going to have 5 days all during the week. You're going to get to wake up and have your coffee with Sam Torres here at the 440 Sports Show. Just doing our best to provide the coverage and having a good time with it as well. So I think that's going to do it for today's show. Again, I want to remind everybody, make sure you head over to the network tonight, get your virtual pass, as there's going to be a ton of great basketball going on right here on YSN Live, including the PV Lakers taking on Beechwood for the district semifinals. Tomorrow, we're going to try and go a little bit further into some of the wrestlers, as I'm still getting weight classes and those sort of things all kind of tied in right now. But I did want to send them a shout out, because I won't call it an undercovered sport, but it's definitely a sport that deserves more coverage. So we'll talk a little bit more about wrestling. We've got a whole ton of topics that we're going to keep going into. We're obviously going to discuss the results of the PV Beechwood game, which, go Lakers. We'll be doing all that tomorrow and more. And if you guys have anything you want us to talk about on the show, you have any ideas, you have anything you want to promote that is student body based, feel free to send it over on any of these socials right here. If I get it and it's going to help the kids, then you can bet your bottom dollar I am going to make sure that it makes its way onto this show, because it's all about the kids and promoting them. So for the 440 Sports Show, this is Sam Torres. Before I go, I do want to remind everybody, go over to the Instagram story. There's going to be a link there where it's going to link you to all Renz Scruggs music. Renz really put his whole foot in this one, folks. It's an absolutely awesome song, and I'm so appreciative to him. But you guys will be hearing a lot of it because this is the daily show now. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for joining Sam Torres and the 440 Sports Show.
This for the fofo. This for the fofo. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the fofo over there. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin', and they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.